Is college still worth it in today's rapidly changing world? That's the colossal question we're diving into today.
hmm
For so long, getting a college degree was presented as the ultimate dream, wasn't it? As a golden ticket, often instilled by our parents, our grandparents, that powerful societal expectation. You heard it all the time. You must become an engineer or a doctor,
Oh, absolutely. That was the gold standard.
especially in certain cultures, like across Asia, right?
Mm.
Where those professions were seen as the absolute pinnacle of stability, respect, a good life. It was just the path.
Prescribed path, yeah. Clear cut.
But if you look around now, things look, well, fundamentally different. We're seeing more and more incredibly successful people who've chosen completely unconventional paths, or maybe they never even finished higher education, and they are absolutely thriving, killing it, really.
hmm
And this isn't just like a few isolated cases anymore. It feels like a real shift. It really makes you wonder if that traditional dream still holds the same weight. Makes you question those assumptions we grew up with.
And that's precisely our mission today in this deep dive. We've gathered a whole stack of your sources, articles, research, reports, even some case studies, and we're going to really explore them, try to contrast that traditional view of higher ed with what's actually happening now, the emerging realities. Our goal here is to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from this whole kind of evolving landscape. We're not here to give you a simple yes or no answer. Honestly, it's way more complex than that. Instead, we want to help you become really well informed on a topic that, let's face it, affects so many critical life decisions.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the intricate trends, even the contradictions.
Okay, let's unpack this then, because this is a conversation I think that's hitting home for countless people right now.
Mm.
From high school kids wondering what's next to maybe people already in careers thinking about a change. So let's start with this big shift in perspective we're seeing. For generations, especially during the industrial age, post-industrial, getting that college degree was seen as the primary path, often the only reliable path to success, to stability.
The main route.
It wasn't just a suggestion. It was like this
Yeah.
deeply ingrained societal rule, a mindset. Get the degree, get the good job, have a comfortable life, gain respect. That was the blueprint, right? Yeah. Passed down through families.
And, for a long time, the data backed that up. It wasn't just belief. A degree did generally lead to better jobs, higher lifetime earnings. It absolutely created this legacy where education was the way up. But that deeply ingrained belief, it's facing some serious challenges now,
Yeah.
undeniable ones. We're seeing this huge rise in anecdotal evidence, stories we hear, things we see online, in the news, stories of super successful people who aren't just getting by without a degree, they're actively redefining success on their own terms.
Absolutely. And think about it personally. Some of the most successful people I know, folks who are genuinely killing it, they never finished college. They're launching amazing freelance careers, building businesses from scratch. Or they're doing that whole digital nomad thing, traveling the world with a laptop, making a great living, creating real value.
Right, living the dream for many.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like just a few outliers anymore. It feels like a real accelerating movement. So you have to ask, if they can achieve that kind of success without the traditional piece of paper, what does that actually mean for everyone else? How much of our idea about a degree's value is just outdated, a leftover from another time?
Yeah.
It creates this real tension, makes you question those assumptions we've all kind of internalized.
That's a crucial point. And while those stories, that anecdotal evidence, it's compelling, right? It paints a picture. But what do the hard numbers tell us? Let's look at the data. If we look at statistics, especially somewhere like India, the challenge becomes even clearer, starker. Our sources say over 40 lakh, that's a staggering. 4 million graduates enter the workforce from colleges every single year.
Wow, 4 million annually.
Yeah, think about that scale. It's roughly the entire population of, say, Croatia graduating every year. It's immense.
That's an incredible number flooding the market. But okay, here's the kicker, right? This is the critical part from the sources. Only a small fraction of those 4 million graduates actually land jobs that match their degree or even use their specialized skills.
Exactly. It's not just about unemployment, though that's part of it. It's often about underemployment
Right.
or, job displacement.
So you have someone with, say, an engineering degree ending up in a call center or sales.
Precisely. Or a job that didn't need a degree at all.
Mm.
It just paints this picture of a system where the output, the number of qualified people, just swamps the number of relevant jobs available.
The system's under strain.
Definitely. This high volume, low relevant placement, it points to a big and growing disconnect, a disconnect between what colleges are churning out and what the modern job market actually needs.
And what does that mean for the students themselves, the graduates?
Well, for individuals, it often means having to dramatically adjust their expectations. Sometimes taking jobs that don't align with what they studied, what they hoped for, or frankly, what they paid for. It can lead to this real sense of frustration, disillusionment, after putting in all that time, effort, and often a lot of money.
Yeah, the financial side is huge.
And get this, a recent report, I think it was from AICTE in India, highlighted that over 60% of engineering grads, while they have the degree, they lack the specific employable skills that industries are actually looking for. And that gap seems to be widening.
So it's not just the number of graduates, it's also about the relevance of what they learn.
Exactly. It's a systemic mismatch.
And that brings us right to maybe the most critical point we found in the sources. This growing gap, this chasm between having skills and just having a paper certificate. We've all heard the stories, maybe lived them. You spend 4 tough years, maybe take out a huge loan. We're talking like 10 lakh easily in India. It's a massive amount for many families, right? Years of savings, significant debt.
Huge investment, yeah.
And then you hit the job market, diploma in hand, only to find out. Companies don't just want the paper. They want skills. That's the word that kept coming up. Skills. Demonstrable, relevant, ready-to-go skills.
Yes, the paper certificate just isn't cutting it on its own anymore because work itself has changed so fast. And this really highlights why some traditional degrees, especially in fast-moving fields like tech, might feel outdated.
The curriculum just can't keep up.
Often, yeah. It lags behind the crazy pace of tech change, industry shifts. What was cutting edge when you started your degree 4 or 5 years ago? By the time you graduate, it might be basic knowledge or even, obsolete.
Right.
Plus, there's often this heavy focus on theory, abstract knowledge, over actual hands-on practical application, real-world problem solving. Companies today, they don't just need someone who knows about something, they need someone who can do something, solve a problem, add value, like right now.
Exactly. And there was this one comparison in the sources that just jumped out at me. It was stark. It said, today, a 16-year-old kid who really digs in, learns modern coding from YouTube, applies themselves, builds actual projects, that kid can actually earn more than a fresh B.Tech graduate who spent years learning maybe older programming methods.
And that's not hypothetical, that's happening.
Right. It's happening everywhere, Silicon Valley, Bengaluru. It just vividly shows that shift in value, away from just the credential towards what you can actually do, your demonstrated ability, your adaptability.
It's less about where you learned it and much more about what you can deliver and how quickly you can learn the next thing.
Which raises a really important question, doesn't it, about the future of the traditional education model itself.
It does. The economic implications are pretty significant. Value is increasingly being placed on, immediate usefulness, being adaptable, constantly picking up new skills, rather than just that formal time-box qualification you got years ago.
So the workforce needs to be more agile.
Exactly. Agile, continuously learning, applying skills directly to problems as they pop up. It suggests that the old, rigid pathways, they might need a fundamental rethink to stay relevant.
A rethink in an economy that rewards speed, practical solutions, and constant evolution.
Yeah, it's a big call for schools and universities to really bridge that gap between what they teach and what industry actually needs right now.
Which perfectly leads us to, okay, if not always college, where are people getting these crucial, in-demand skills?
Right. So if those traditional routes have challenges and industry needs are shifting, where's the action happening? Well, one of the biggest trends, and it was really strong in your sources, is the rise of the freelance revolution, on-list careers.
It's not just a side hustle thing anymore, is it?
Not at all. It's a totally viable, rapidly growing, often very lucrative alternative for millions of people. Think about roles like video editing, copywriting, web design, digital marketing, even newer stuff like AI prompt engineering.
Yeah, all those skills you see advertised.
For many of those, a college degree just isn't the main requirement. Sometimes it's not required at all. The entire emphasis is on your ability. Can you show your work? That's the portfolio.
The portfolio is key.
Absolutely. Completed projects, client feedback, measurable results. Your work speaks, not your diploma.
And the flexibility. That came through loud and clear. The global reach.
Totally. That's what's so empowering about this model, right? You're not tied to a local job market or the 9-to-5 grind.
You could be working with someone in San Francisco one day, London the next.
Exactly. From anywhere, for clients anywhere, on projects you actually care about, often setting your own hours. That kind of empowerment, that freedom, it's something the traditional corporate structure often can't match.
It feels like a true meritocracy of skills. If you can do the work, you get the work.
Largely, yes. It rewards talent and execution, often regardless of how or where you learned it. It offers a freedom previous generations could only, dream about.
And it lowers the barrier to entry, right? You don't need that massive upfront investment always.
Precisely. You don't necessarily need years of formal schooling or a huge loan to start building a career in these areas. What you do need is talent, sure, but also dedication, self-discipline, because you're your own boss, and the ability to actually show clients what you can do.
So showcase your work effectively.
Yeah. One study mentioned the global freelance market is just exploding. Companies want specialized talent on demand without the overhead. Individuals want flexibility. It feeds itself.
And it makes people more entrepreneurial, doesn't it? Running their own little business.
Inherently, you're managing clients, marketing yourself, setting rates, building a brand. It's a totally different, maybe more agile way to build a career.
Which brings us perfectly to those famous examples. The iconic dropouts. The ones who really threw a wrench in the college is essential narrative.
The narrative challengers.
And when you look at their stories, it's not just that they skipped the degree. It's what they chose to do instead.
Right.
What they prioritized. Like Ritesh Agarwal drops out, starts OAO, totally disrupts hospitality in India, then globally. Focus was on execution, the business model.
Incredible story.
Or Tanmay Bhatt, college dropout, becomes this huge digital creator in India, built an empire in comedy, media, just through ingenuity and knowing his audience.
And these aren't just Indian examples. Look globally. Mark Zuckerberg drops out of Harvard, builds Facebook. Steve Jobs leaves Reed College to chase the Apple vision.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Started a PhD at Stanford, right?
Yeah.
Dropped out almost immediately to launch a startup.
Within days, yeah. And these stories matter because they hit that societal narrative head on, the one that says college is the only way or the best way to big success.
So what's the common thread there?
Yeah.
Why did they ditch formal education?
Well, what's fascinating is they didn't seem to reject learning. They rejected the traditional pace or format. They prioritized acting on their ideas immediately, building their ventures, following their passion.
They felt like college was holding them back.
It seems like it, slowing them down from pursuing these huge visions they had. They were focused on application, on building, on impact now.
It's like they were building their portfolio in real time, but with incredibly high stakes.
Yeah, you could say that. Even before portfolio was the buzzword it is now.
They saw the value was in the doing, the innovation, the results, not just the theory or the piece of paper.
Right, which makes you wonder, aren't these just total exceptions, once-in-a-generation talents?
Or
Yeah.
are they maybe signaling a broader trend where drive, innovation, self-learning can actually bypass formal credentials, especially in fast fields like tech, creative stuff, entrepreneurship?
It's a key question, and it leads right into how people are getting these valuable market-ready skills, if not always through the traditional system. How are they learning so effectively and efficiently?
And this is where online learning just changes everything, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
feels like it's democratizing knowledge access. I mean, just compare the cost. It's a huge factor. College cost lacks, potentially crippling debt. But then you look at platforms like Coursera, Skillshare, NPTEL in India, Udemy, EDX.
Even just YouTube.
Right, even YouTube. They're giving out content that's often just as good, sometimes more current, more practical.
And it's free, or comparatively, like peanuts. Pennies on the dollar compared to tuition.
It's not just about the money saving, though. That's obviously huge for so many people.
No, it's bigger than that. It's about truly revolutionary accessibility. It's a paradigm shift in how knowledge gets shared and picked up.
Democratizing it globally.
Totally. Anyone with internet anywhere can access top courses taught by experts from big universities, industry leaders, no geographical limits, no complex admissions hoops.
Removes the gatekeepers in a way.
Exactly. A World Economic Forum report projected the online education market is just going to keep growing exponentially because people want flexible, affordable, skill-focused learning.
So the future is more continuous on-demand learning.
Looks like it. It suggests a big reshaping of how educational institutions and the job market work. A more open, dynamic, learner-focused system.
And beyond the cost and access, there's the speed, the sheer practicality.
Yes, the efficiency is incredible.
Like, you want to learn something specific and useful right now, like how to use ChatGPT better for work or build a simple app. You can literally find a focused course tonight, practice it for a couple of days, and by the weekend, you could be offering that as a service, maybe even earning from it.
It's almost unbelievable compared to the traditional timeline.
Yeah, multi-year degrees where you might wait ages to apply anything practical.
This rapid skill pickup means people can adapt super quickly to what the market wants, pivot careers almost on a dime, immediately use what they learn to earn money or solve problems.
Which brings up that question again.
Yeah.
How can traditional education possibly keep pace with how fast industries are changing?
It's a huge challenge for them. This ability to learn and deploy skills fast gives individuals incredible career agility. It really pushes this idea of lifelong learning, where you're constantly reskilling, upskilling throughout your career without needing to go back to a formal institution for years at a time.
So education becomes less of a one-time thing, more of a continuous flow.
Exactly. A continuous, iterative process that matches real-time needs, which contrasts sharply with, curricula that might only get updated every few years in some traditional settings.
Which might struggle to keep up with tech breakthroughs or new demands.
Right. It implies a future workforce that's much more fluid, adaptable, self-directed, built on this foundation of always learning on demand.
Okay, so we've talked a lot about the alternatives, the rise of skills, online learning, but this is really crucial. We need a balanced view here. We are absolutely not saying traditional college is useless or irrelevant.
Right. Important clarification.
For certain professions, highly specialized ones, formal accredited education is still fundamentally indispensable. It's non-negotiable, like doctors, obviously.
Doctors are the prime example. You can't learn complex surgery from YouTube or a weekend course. It's just not possible. The depth of knowledge needed, anatomy, physiology, pharmacology, plus the years of hands-on clinical training, the ethical grounding, the sheer responsibility.
Lives are on the line.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It demands that structured, supervised, accredited environment over many, many years. Residencies, fellowships.
And what about engineers? Like civil engineers building bridges?
Another perfect example that came up, designing huge structures, bridges, skyscrapers, complex infrastructure. You can't just wing that based on some online modules.
Definitely not.
The precision needed, the safety rules, understanding physics, materials, structures, soil.
Yeah.
It's incredibly complex. That all comes from comprehensive, multi-year formal engineering programs. Public safety literally depends on it, and the licensing that follows.
Same for lawyers too, I imagine. Understanding the law, procedures.
Absolutely. Legal frameworks, precedents, courtroom practice, ethics. It takes years of dedicated study, practical experience like moot court, mentorship. These fields will change with tech, sure, but that core need for deep, formal understanding, practical training, accreditation, that's likely to stick around because of the complexity and the societal impact.
The stakes are just too high to skip it.
Way too high. So beyond those specific job requirements, which are critical, we also need to think about the other benefits of college, the broader stuff, the less tangible things.
Got the life lessons.
Exactly. And what's fascinating here, and often gets missed when we only talk about jobs and money, is how much these other aspects contribute to long-term success and just, being a well-rounded person.
Right. College isn't just classes and textbooks. For a lot of people, it's this intense period of growth.
A crucible, yeah.
It's where you learn vital social skills, right? Networking, building relationships with different kinds of people, working together on messy group projects.
Learning to collaborate with different personalities, definitely.
And discipline. Meeting deadlines, managing your time, maybe living on your own for the first time.
Responsibility, yeah.
Working under pressure, solving problems as a group, handling setbacks, navigating social stuff, developing resilience.
These are all universal skills, aren't they? Critical thinking, communication, teamwork, adaptability, emotional intelligence. They're valuable no matter what career you end up in.
Things you don't necessarily get just from watching online videos alone.
That's a key point, often understated. Those intangible benefits, they matter hugely in the long run. The critical thinking you hone writing papers, debating ideas, the social navigation, maybe leading a student club, even just living independently, managing money.
It all adds up.
It really does. One source, a long-term study on careers, found that while your first job might hinge on technical skills, moving up, getting into leadership, that often correlates more with these developed soft skills.
Interesting. So it's about the whole person, not just the skills for the first job.
Exactly. Experiences that may be short online courses or isolated freelance gigs can't fully replicate. College can be this unique, immersive space for trying things, figuring yourself out, broadening your worldview.
Creating a more well-rounded individual.
Yeah, providing a holistic value that goes beyond just job placement. It includes personal growth, maturity, adaptability.
Okay, so we've covered a lot. The shifting landscape, the rise of alternatives, the power of online learning, but also the enduring value, tangible and intangible, of traditional college. It's crystal clear there's no single right answer to the "is college worth it" question. It's personal.
Deeply personal.
So what does this all mean for you? For our listener who might be at that crossroads, feeling the pressure, trying to figure things out, I think the core advice, pulling together everything from the sources, is this. Don't just follow the crowd. Don't do it because everyone else is, or because you feel you should.
Especially now with social media amplifying that FOMO, the fear of missing out, societal pressure can be intense.
Right. Instead, the advice is take the time. Really try to discover your passion. What genuinely excites you? What problems do you want to solve? What work feels meaningful, satisfying, even when it's hard?
That focus on looking inward, on self-awareness, it's more critical than ever with so many options out there. The decision about your education, your career, it really should be driven by your goals, your motivations, your passions, not by external pressures or that classic worry about log ka kahenge, what will people say, that fear of judgment that can really dictate choices.
Yeah, letting go of that is huge.
It's about taking ownership, becoming the architect of your own path, not just following a map drawn for someone else or for a different time. It's challenging, sure, because of the uncertainty, but it's also an incredible opportunity today.
Okay, so once you have maybe an idea, a spark of interest, a field you're curious about, what next? What are the practical steps?
It's about testing the waters, exploring.
So for that 17-year-old listening, feeling lost, or anyone thinking of a career change, what can they actually do?
Well, the sources highlighted things like try internships, find ones in fields you're genuinely interested in. Even if they don't pay much at first, the real-world experience, the context, the exposure, it's invaluable.
Put your foot in the door.
Exactly. Take on freelance projects. There are fantastic, low-risk ways to build that portfolio we talked about. Learn skills quickly, maybe even start earning while you learn.
Learn by doing.
And explore side hustles. Small ventures to test ideas, develop skills, earn extra cash, and figure out what you enjoy and what you're good at, often completely outside any formal education structure.
And keep learning online, right? That came through strongly.
Absolutely. Continuously learn skills online. The digital world is basically your personalized, accessible university.
So these things offer practical experience, build your portfolio, develop real skills without the huge commitment or cost of a full degree right away.
Precisely. There are great ways to test the waters before you dive into something long-term. You can iterate, pivot quickly if something isn't right.
This agile approach, it builds a more adaptable workforce too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Better prepared for whatever the future of work throws at us.
Definitely. A workforce ready for constant change, continuous learning, which again raises that question for traditional education. How can they incorporate more of these hands-on, agile, industry-linked elements to stay relevant?
It's a challenge for them. So ultimately it boils down to redefining success for yourself, personally.
Yes.
College.
Yes.
Go for it if it genuinely fits your goals, your passion, the path you want, not because of pressure or what will people say. And please don't feel guilty if you're confused. Honestly, who isn't a bit confused in this rapidly changing world?
Everyone is figuring it out as they go.
This generation is literally rewriting the rules, challenging old norms, forging new paths to fulfillment, to making an impact. And that's not just, okay, it's exciting, it's liberating.
It really is. It's a call to be courageous, to be an individual.
Be brave enough to explore those unconventional routes if they call to you.
Be curious enough to keep learning, always adapting, grabbing knowledge wherever you find it.
Be bold enough to carve out your own path, the one that's truly yours, even if it looks totally different from what people expect.
Because, end of the day,
This is your life, your journey, your way. So, wrapping up this deep dive, just remember, that question, is college worth it? It's complex, it's layered, there's no single right answer for everybody. The value of a traditional degree is shifting, no doubt. Skills, experience, continuous learning, they often carry more weight now in many fields. But for certain crucial professions and for those invaluable, less tangible benefits, personal growth, networking, broader development, traditional education still holds real, vital relevance.
absolutely. It's about finding the right fit for you.
Your journey is yours alone, and the power to shape it, it really lies with you.
And maybe, as you navigate all this, here's a final thought to mull over. In a world overflowing with accessible information, where careers are becoming so much more fluid and self-directed, how might you personally redefine what education and success actually mean for your own unique journey?
Something to really think about.
Yeah. Reflect on that. Keep exploring these ideas and really embrace that mindset of personalized, continuous learning. Because the future of education, and maybe the future of success itself, it's increasingly yours to imagine and yours to build.